The city of Johannesburg, or through City Power, says it's losing an average of 3.6 million rand every day because of power cuts. That's load shedding, with an estimated R250 million lost so far this year. The city has been looking at alternatives to supply its own power, but for now, it suffers along with you and I. That's according to reports over the weekend. Let's get an update now from Mangena, who is the City Power spokesperson. Isaac, thank you for your time and your patience. 3.6 million rand a day. How's that calculated?
Thanks for having us. Look, we obviously, as a business, as a City of Johannesburg power utility, we are also in a business of basically making money, at least some profit, so that we can reinvest in the infrastructure. We can electrify more people and households. So with load shedding, we have realized that we're actually losing a lot of money, and we decided to basically conduct a little desktop study to check how much do we basically lose every day, and it calculated to about 3.6 million rands, and this basically talks to the money that we use to basically repair the infrastructure that gets damaged every time we switch on and off every 2 hours during load shedding, but also the fact that we need to basically bring in teams of operators and technicians to basically work on the network during load shedding. So that is money that we basically are putting into overtimes and so forth. But we're also dealing with issues of vandalism, cable theft. We have to replace those. So we also calculated that. But as a business, we also basically have revenue projections that we are not meeting because of the fact that when lights go off, we basically are not making money. We don't basically deal people. So that is basically the concern that we are having, and that is the money that we actually don't even count the losses that are suffered by our residents themselves.
What then does the city have to do to survive this?
Look, obviously, this is something that will stay with us for some time, especially if the problems at Eskom still continue. But as the city, we are basically working on, you'll remember that we had started the process to basically onboard independent power producers so that we can get alternatives to Eskom. That work is at the...
Isaac, are you still with us?
Is actually, sorry about that. That work is basically at an advanced stage, and we should actually be going out into the market to find people who can assist us in terms of basically getting extra capacity from the market. So we want to basically ensure that we do that, so that whenever there is load shedding, at least ourselves and even the residents of the city of Johannesburg are cushioned from this load shedding.
When is that extra capacity expected to come online for Johannesburg specifically? I mean, the president in his pronouncements in July was saying that what's happened now is that access to independent power producers, for example, into the market has been made easier, but government processes, as we know, are cumbersome.
Yeah, initially, obviously, it was difficult to basically tap into that because we're really operating in a highly regularized environment, and as such, you find that there's a lot of regulations from government that basically made it difficult to basically onboard independent power producers. You'll remember that you couldn't even bring on board anything over 100 megawatts. But after the announcement by the president, we are able basically to go and get that much capacity. And this is something that we're actually welcoming, and that's something that we're going to take advantage of to ensure that at least we can get those people that are already in the market, that are already doing something, to ensure that we do this. We were looking basically on ensuring that in not so long future, like in the next 3 months, we should actually be starting to have results of the plans that we've got on the table. Like I said, we were hoping that before the end of this month, we should be going out into the market with the request for proposals, so that at least those people that can be able to assist can basically come on board and ensure that they assist us in terms of capacity. But we are also looking at those low-lying fruits in terms of what is out there. Like, we can basically, as the city, and in partnership with other private businesses, be able to onboard things like your solar power, for example. We can also even go as far as battery storage to ensure that we deal with that. But you'll remember that we already, as the city, have an independent power producer in the name of Kelvin, which is already, basically giving us 10% of what we are consuming as the city. So we want to basically ramp that one up so that at least we can be able to have extra from Kelvin Power Station and ensure that every time there is load shedding, we are able to basically cushion the residents. So we are basically at an advanced stage to ensure that we basically onboard most of these independent power producers. So the only thing that we have to basically go through is the issue of the supply chain management process, so that at least we can basically be on the go.
And will your budgets be able to keep up with this growing expense? So could we see a situation where the city of Joburg, or City Power, I should say, has to rob Peter to pay Paul?
Look, obviously, this is something that we will have to basically go out and try and ensure that we get money. Unfortunately, with some of the expenses that we are suffering, you may find the situation where we'll have to pass some of the expenses or costs to the consumers, which is something that we're trying by all means as a poor municipality not to do because of some of the obviously reserves that we have. But that's why we basically want to ensure that even with the independent power producers program, we basically find something that is affordable for our residents, because currently, as things are, electricity on its own is expensive. We as City Power, we pay about 10 billion rands to Eskom to get that. We are the customer of Eskom to get electricity. So, and half the time we don't actually have that, as you know, because of this load shedding. So those are some of the things that we are really grappling with, and that's why even when we looked at our desktop study, we basically realized that we're not basically losing a lot of money, and it means we're not going to be able to probably meet some of our targets, including the maintenance targets, even if load shedding ends tomorrow. You remember that during load shedding, we are basically not able to even do the maintenance. So the impact of load shedding will basically be felt long even after the load shedding has ended, and that's why we are trying by all means as City Power to ensure that at least we do the basics, and if we are able to basically get extra capacity elsewhere, let's do that so that at least we are able to protect our residents against any cost that may get passed to them.
Isaac Mangena, good to have your time as always. Thank you, sir.